you're saying? Good.
Yeah, it's still opening, and I'm used to it at some point anyway. So it's not a Zoom thing, it's a remote let me.
I thought about it, but I thought no.
Oh my god, stop. No, stop trying to sell me shit. Just let me turn my laptop on. Thank fuck for that. Jeez. Okay, now on. Do you want Zoom or no?
No, I don't. Oh, I gotta do that. Sends people default to that waiting room thing, doesn't it? We do a backbeat cancellation.
Okay. I'll be here if you need me then.
That's really annoying.
B.
Yeah. Do you know what horror I dislike the most? What bothers me the most?
Body horror.
Yep.
You want to squish it, right?
No, I'm not trying to squish it.
You know it's a bee, right?
Yeah. Bumblebees on those things. Unless you go all in the go. There's one. There you go. What's doing that?
Send my vibrator. Well then. Anybody join that? Great.
Well done. You put me in backing cover as a rock stack. So the way we get rid of this,
You're just gonna pop the cover. Please do it now.
you have to step up. You see, forward. Stay on, stay on, stay on. Really step up on one leg.
Well, we don't do that a lot of times. Something like that. Or get some.
Sorry. Is he working or not?
Over there. I think I was going to
Keep it back. can't, so this choke is, I can never allow this hand to go past my shoulder. So bridge, and if you can't clear this, you fall down onto this side. So now there's a problem in having people kick you off of them and retaking you back. So this foot will calmly go under and find this knee. Okay. The best thing that you can do before this happens or while it happens is just fully straighten the leg. So now try kicking me off you. So it makes the leg heavy. So if I'm here like this, you can take this out and kick me off you. But if this leg is straight, try kicking me off you. So it pins this leg bends it. Weird, isn't it? So that's why. So if you try kicking this leg off, that is straight. Keeps weight down. We can't extract this leg. So that's what pins you. Who's that? We started. Hi, Mike.
All right, Susie.
Hiya.
Give it a few more minutes, there's people coming. I picked up a neat little tip when escaping the back. It's quite clever. If I do this, but never realize, so if we come over under here, so we'll cover this in the class, but if we stack out of this, we're trying to get to the choking arm side. So if we move forward just a little bit and go off the screen. So I stack. Once I get high enough, I want to get to this side. If I can, I want to clear this arm. If I can't, this spine, we drop down here. So quite often, I'm pinning her here with the weight of my body on this lower leg. So what she wants to do is to kick me off of her to get her hips away and then retake my back. So screw this up for my opponent, put your hook back in. What you do is fully, when you get to this position, when you're off to the side, even if this leg comes in, just fully straighten your leg. So now when she tries kicking you off of it, she can't do it. So you stay pinning this leg. So then it gives you a better opportunity to turn in and get out of the position. If I bend it, she can take this off, kick me off, and then retake my back. And not let me go of the seat. So straightening that leg makes you a lot heavier on the lower leg, which you're pinning, so it screws up the ability to retake your back. Like too much emphasis is put on the hooks when you're on the back. You really just want to focus. If you've got a solid seat belt, you won't lose the back. If you're just joining, it's not the start of the class, it's just me chatting. So with the seat belt, be strong. You want your head right next to your opponent like this. You want the hands under the chin. You want your elbows to drop like this. So this arm is forcing my head into her head. Providing that you control the head, you've got the back. So even if Susie doesn't have any hooks, if she's got a solid seatbelt with the head driving into mine, I'm going to really struggle getting out of this back control. So Susie can trust that as I attempt to escape. So as I bridge through onto this side, she gives up on her hooks, kicks me off of her, keeping that seatbelt, squeeze it tight, and now she can retake. Bring the right knee high up my back, sitting down, and taking it again. So trusting that seatbelt control really helps with that back maintenance. Don't think, oh, the hooks are out, you've lost it. If somebody really wants this hook out, I take it out. Don't bother trying to hold it really tight. From here, all Susie needs to do to maintain control is to make sure she gets her hips out and away from me. So that's why she kicks me off. So she kicks me off. Now she gets her, that's it. Now she can get back up to her knees. And I can retake that strong seatbelt. So I get used to just hanging on to seatbelts instead of focusing too heavily on hooks.
Sorry, mate.
Nice. I'm just like running through some ideas. I think we're going to do back defense today, and some back ticks. So see what we got. And get started. It's only 40. Caesar switched the classes to 45 minutes instead of an hour. So run through back defense and fitting that into our escape systems that we did last week. So the first one I want to cover is a rucksack back escape. We're going to go do it once because you keep on running on the head. So let's say somebody's got your back and your stomach is facing the floor. How would we go about getting out of this? So we've got to get our hips up and stand up, but maintaining a slope to get them falling off the back of us. So first thing, I'm going to base up on my left leg. Right, go. 1. From here, I can come up onto my hands, but keeping my head low down. From here, I can base up on the other leg. So I shift weight onto the other leg. Here. Now you see I keep my head up, my head to my left. This allows you to slip off of me. Trying to hold on. You've got to be careful of them falling off into arm bars and sometimes knee bars there. But our job is to stand up, maintaining that slope on our back. It's harder to do if they stabilize the position. So if they throw in a rucksack, you're very ready to stand up early and quick. So we just run through that. So one last time. Susie gets her hooks in. So when she takes this, I need to get her weight traveling forward. So first I step up with one leg. This raises my hips. This starts to moving forward. Now I can come up onto my hands. From here I step up onto the other foot. 2. Now she's really struggling to hold it. So she's sliding off and you just keep walking back, making that steeper and steeper. Being very wary of my opponent snatching arm bars and knee bars as she's falling off. So your arms are straight there. Be ready to go into your arm bar defense. Knee bar, yes, to get rid of. But yeah, that's what you want to be go for if somebody's in a rucksack position on you. And the other option, if you're uncomfortable with doing that, is falling onto your side and getting your weight onto them. You don't want to be staying in that rucksack unless you're standing up, getting them falling on you. Is there any questions about that? A little bit. I'll throw questions at you.
Just watching the class. Come and sit here and watch the video.
That question?
Get started. Download the Google Home app.
If anyone wants to see it again, I'll go one more time. Maybe you can do it for me. Voila. So we'll do that again. So Susie goes into
what the rucksack means. Is it just seatbelt position and hooks in?
Oh, yeah, rucksack is with your chest facing the ground. So this is the rucksack position.
Cool.
So Susie is going to stay on her elbows to start with, and step up onto her left leg. So now this already gets me falling off over the top of her a bit. So now she'll come up onto her hands, good, and now she'll step up onto the other leg, but keeping her head really low. And she's going to start forcing her head through her legs, so now this steepness gets really hard to control. So going to start falling off. She can start using this outside hand to pull this hook out if it's stuck in there. And we're out. That well. So yeah, on the invisible man, if somebody gets this position, step up. 1, keeping your head low, and then start moving your butt backwards. Like this. So this gets them falling over the top of you. You don't want their head staying next to yours. You want their head ahead of yours. If you can get that going, you're out of the position. So step here, they're falling forward. We can exaggerate that distance between our heads by moving our butt back. Their head stays there. It's very difficult for them to get their weight back onto the hips once they start falling. From here onto your hands, then stepping up onto the other leg. Walking your hands closer to you, making this angle more steep. And she'll fall off. You do have to be careful of arm bars or them catching a heel, so be very wary of that. Any questions about that? This saves me loads. Particularly against the ego. Shake him off.
I'm guessing you need your hands to maintain your stability. Do you ever try and use your hands to like pull them off a bit or unstable their hands?
Their head way above yours. You can peel them off using that handle, their head for sure, and you can use your hands to reach back. Normally having one staying on the floor to peel a hook out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just maintaining that angle. You can use one hand for sure. Tend to use my hands on the back of the head more when I'm on the ground, not on a standing.
Okay.
Yeah, but sometimes you can do the initial part of this. So that's the basing up and moving your butt back. Their head gets left forward. You can start pulling down on the head from this position as opposed to up here. When I'm up, I probably need at least one hand to stay basing.
Yeah.
One knee on the floor.
Like a reverse can opener.
Yeah, and pull them through. And that is legal even with white belts because they can release your back.
Yeah.
Right? So the torsion that you're applying on the neck, when you're peeling them off your back, they can let go of your back. Therefore, you're not attempting to submit with a neck crank.
Okay.
They're applying it to their self is the thought process there.
Yeah.
Good questions. Good number tonight.
Question. What can you, so obviously I am a small person.
Yeah.
And I will wrestle with anyone. What can you do to keep this from hurting your head and neck if you're a small person and the person is a big person?
Oh, when you're on the back and they're peeling you off, or?
No, when you're on the ground, or would you just not use this against a really big person?
So what would be, it'll be difficult for people, a big person, to put you into a rucksack position. Because you're limiting that space for their hooks to come in. So so it'll be more likely for a little person to be on the back in a rucksack position than a big person or a little person because of the lack of space when you're fighting a smaller person for your hooks. So probably not a problem you're going to have to worry about with Baz. If Basil's got you in a rucksack back position, it's probably done. He's going to drop his hips through. What's more likely against small, when there's a size difference and a bigger person on top is that they'll pull you onto them to open that space for their hooks to come in. So it's probably not a problem you're going to come up against too much. But it moves on to what we do when it's not a rucksack position. So we've got our back taker. So big thing when controlling this position for Susie, she wants to have this arm forced in my head into her head, not applying a choke. She has a nice heavy arm on this side with the head driving in. If she can maintain control over my head, she's got good back control. So this head position is massive. And it's always on the side of the underhook. You don't want the head over the other side. So bring the head over. So now she's got two control elements on the same side, and my head can move freely. So she wants to be over here. So when you're watching like EBI overtime and stuff, the countdown is essentially who's quicker to get a body triangle on, or the other way around, to stack. So if we go 1, 2, 3, Susie will extract this and throw a body triangle on. This already makes it a lot harder for me to get my weight back on her because I've got to clear the hooks for that hand. This foot under my leg, so relax a bit. Lock the body triangle up, yeah. Under the leg. Too fat. Put the foot under my leg. This makes it difficult for me to drive backwards. So release. So here, when somebody's on your back, first thing you have to worry about is the choke. We cannot let this hand go past the line of our shoulder. So both hands are defending the choking arm. Okay. If this hand goes past this, here, the chokes are going to come on very quickly. So when we don't want to get choked here, this hand has to stay in front of us. We want to be able to see it. The moment you lose sight of it, even if your chin is tucked, which I don't hugely recommend because they will break your jaw, particularly if it's fine. They will get the chokes. These are. So make sure you can always see that hand here. One hand should be close to the elbow and the other hand up by the wrist. Be close to your butt now, and we're going to stack our opponents. We go straight back first. So the weight goes back, we load weight onto our opponent. If we can, we want to get this hand over our head and then put our back onto the floor. So this limits our options massively. We're out here. From here, we're going to keep hold of the outside hand. And now let go of the inside, bringing our elbow down to the floor. Now, as we turn in, I don't want us turning in by sitting up onto our butt like this. We're turning our head. So the elbow comes down, knee make contact. My hips are up off the ground all the way through. From this, I can now turn in, keeping weight on my shoulder and on my head, keeping my hips above my opponent's. If my hips drop, there's a chance you can get back on top into a mount. So as you're turning into your opponent, who can keep their hips higher will win that top position. What you see a lot is people doing all the hard work. They've got them on. And then they drop their hips and they try getting on top via the elbow. You don't do that. You've got to get used to coming up onto your head, keeping your hips high the whole time. So Susie will do that to me. So I've got a good back control. She wants to see this hand the whole time. One on the elbow, one up high on the wrist. So if she see, if I try pushing the hand through, she keeps it there. There is no way I'm getting this hand through. She's got good control here. Now she plants her feet and she stacks higher all the way back up here. If she can, it's a very good thing to get this hand over her head. She will maintain double-handed grips here. Now she will release the inside one, keeping the outside one. The elbow will hit the ground. She's dropped her hips. Big no-no. I'm going to come up on top. She's got to keep the hips up all the way through. Now she steps over. She can go into a half guard, great. Commonly, that's very difficult to do, but it's not a bad position. Spin around again. I think we came off the camera a little bit. So, seatbelt. I've got good control here. So now she always wants to see this hand. These are the grips she takes. She bridges, high. Now brings the arm over her head, drops down. You see, I'm really limited with my options here. Her punching this arm up makes it difficult for me. I can't get onto my elbow or get my hips up. So she releases this hand, puts this knee on the ground, and then turns in, and she's out. So yeah, if you can clear that hand, it can be kind of hard to do. It kills all the connective options your opponent has to move to a mount, potentially looking to switch their head and arm chokes. So if you can clear it, do it. If not, there are ways your opponent can move around to other dominant positions, but we'll be ready to counter them as well. But clearing that hand, it kills it, you're out. Because they can't get their hips up. Yeah. And that seatbelt, you can lead into other things as well.
Ross, question.
Yeah.
If someone is controlling, wait, let me turn my video on. If, no, sorry, my video doesn't want to be turned on. Okay. If someone is controlling with both hands, and you are the one that's choking, how do you then make sure you like kind of get past their hands and go for the choke?
Oh, right. Okay. So the one I like using, so if they're going double-handed here, I want to fall to the side of the underhook. So I want to get them here. Now, defending with both hands. Throwing a body triangle on is excellent because then they start feeling like they need to use their hand to start forcing the body triangle open. Okay, so applying a bit of pressure through a body triangle, good idea. Makes their hands drop. Now, first, you want the underhooking hand to come through under their top arm on the wrist. We're going to start pushing this down here. So, you see that? This hand comes through, we push it down. So top arm first. Now here, we push it down. The elbow's then the heel's gonna come up and into the heel, into her elbow. From here, we're gonna kick down and extract that arm. All right? So this gives us room to get, forcing this down, making this window a little bit bigger. So she holds, here, hand comes under, we grab the wrist, push it down, freeing that grip. Heel comes over and into the elbow. We drag the arm backwards, and now make sure this arm is totally out of play. We put the foot behind her back. Now that ain't coming back. We've still got one hand to deal with. This lower hand does the same thing again, but on this one, we push it down. This allows us to get super deep choke here, which we can finish one-handed if we cup the shoulder and then drag back, or we can then release the hand. We're ahead on this and locking up. So that's the hand work that we're doing. We just do that again here. So fall down from the side of the choking hand and the non-choking hand. They've got two hands on one of mine. Top hand first, underhooking hand comes through, grabs the wrist, clears that. This allows this outside leg to come in, snatching at this arm. You want, in order to do that, you want your heel going into the crease of the elbow. Yeah, that's where we want that. That's the target. So target heel in the crease of the elbow. Now she's got one hand defending her neck. I've got two attacking it. So I've got an option to get clearing this, burying this, and now moving up to the choke. So it's really, I think, all on that choking hand, or that non-choking hand, to do the clearing. Okay, so she's got both hands on that choking arm. We need but we've got our underhooking arm spare. That comes in, clears one, take it with the foot. That foot is important there that we're keeping our opponent low on us. We do not want them moving high up on us. So if Susie is, unless I'm massively flexible, Susie's like throwing her weight back at me, yeah? It's going to be very hard for me to get my leg over to trap that arm. So I've got to be keeping her low. So I've got to kick down on her hips, getting her butt down to the ground and getting her head below, getting her hips below the line of mine. So if my hips are higher than hers, it'll be a lot easier for me to grab this, keeping it off, and trapping this arm. So if you can't do it, it's probably because your opponent's hips are too high up on you, which is a big principle of escaping the back. You want your hips way up above, at least level with theirs. That's why we're stacking. So you guys, you can drill that hand movement as well. So fall to the side of the non-choking arm. Use the non-choking arm to clear the top arm, passing it to your leg, and then the non-choking arm to clear the lower arm, switching deep on the choke and finishing. I will cover quickly after that how to do a humane face bar.
Thank you, Ross.
You're welcome. All right, did that answer the question? Right.
Yes.
Good, good.
Next question. Can face bars ever be humane?
Yeah, these ones are. It's quite padded.
I have another question as well. Sorry.
All right, go on, throw it at me.
I also like that I obviously joined the video call after we had discussed that you look like the last airbender. Could you have any ideas or any ways to do submissions of people if they put like body triangles on you, or if their feet are in front of you when you're in back control?
From the back, when you've got your back taken, and how to potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll show you
Because
the step.
I've been like doing things to people's feet, but I think I'm doing them wrong.
Okay, so some people have got a lot of resistance with these, so they don't always work. Actually, if I put you in a body triangle, see if you can do it to me. Please do it slow, because she's liable. So body triangle, they need, if I'm using it, I want it to be on the open side. So if I'm falling down here, I don't really want, I want it to be facing the ceiling. I feel quite uncomfortable if it's on the lower side. Yeah, really advanced guys don't really worry too much about this. There are ways like really dragging. I don't want to apply the body triangle too much, but really flaring your toes like this makes it difficult for them to counter the position. But if Susie was able to get me down onto the other side, and I've got my body triangle locked up on the underside, what Susie could do to submit me here, so if we shimmy around a bit, face the camera, is to hook my foot so she steps, no, right where it was, right there, good. Now she's going to put both hands on my knee. She's going to push it down slowly, and now start driving her lower hip through my heel. Okay, so that's the counter. So if she just drives her hip without pushing, nothing's going to come on. So she wants to push this down, so this opens this, and then you can get it. So that's the correct way of counting this body triangle if it's on this side. So that's why you should really be switching during the transition to the other side.
Where does that hurt?
That kind of applies to the heel hook. So my toes get caught under. So my knee a lot, caught under my knee. And now your hip is driving this heel forward. So you see you're getting that rotation, and it's going to come up either on the foot or on the knee.
What type of submission can you get away with?
I'm not sure what the rules are with the IBJJF with that one. It does talk the foot and the knee. The best person to ask regards to that submission would be to Steve. Probably he goes to the IBJJF rules meetings the most, or Ego. So, escaping body triangles. So sometimes it's very hard to get them onto the wrong side. This foot under my knee bothers me. I don't like it because it stops me from stacking and turning into my opponent. So I've lost the hand. Don't like that at all. Get hit. Okay, we'll always see that hand. So from here, I can clear this hook by extending and stamping my heel down like this. So once it's clear, I do everything largely the same. She can put it back in after, so I stack, she can put it back in here, start kicking through. Again, to get rid of this, I start kicking my leg straight, stamping the heel down to the floor. It will force her to take that foot out. From here now, it will allow me to start to turn. And we approach the escape exactly the same way as if we were stacking without the body triangle on and the arm on this side. Okay. So, defense is the same. What makes it difficult? This foot under. So if I'm unable to stack, kick the leg down all the way to the ground. Now I'll be able to stack it again. Sometimes in doing that, she'll put it back in. Just do exactly the same thing. Extend and heel to the floor. So extend your leg up, try holding it, and now kick down, and it will force her to release it. From here, we start turning in. Now, there's a lot of risks here. She's still got transition options because the arm is on the correct side. The threats would be Susie potentially retaking my back. The way she would do that is release the hooks, find this foot again under my knee, kicking me off of it, coming back up to a chair, sit back there, and sitting down, getting onto my back again. Another big problem Another potential pathway she has, so regular back here, is to come up into a mount. So if I'm stacking here, she can leave this, not kick me off of her. She can release this and come up. So release the head and arm and come up into the top position. So get up now. Into a full mount here. She's unable to do that if I cleared the arm over the head.
Also, your head.
So that one needs to kind of spin through. She always puts her hand here. The final one would be a head and arm. So if I've done everything right, I've cleared the feet. Way of stopping this one coming back in is really bringing that heel up tight to your butt so she can't find that knee again. So now as I bridge, here. Another thing she can do is release the back again, punch in the underhooking arm all the way through and turn it onto her stomach. Yes. Just turn on.
Oh, wait.
Now she comes straight into her head and arm and start finishing. So there are a lot of risks in not clearing that arm. But if you know the major pathways, you can predict them. So I'll run through the options. If somebody, as you're taking the back, stacks you, and we get down with here. Option one is to retake the back. So here we keep our head close, maintaining control of the head. We give up on our hooks. This foot finds here. We kick her off. She can counter this. I love doing this. It catches a lot of people out by keeping this left leg very straight and on the floor. Makes her super heavy. I can't kick her off anymore. So I'm trapped here. All of the weight is down on my lower leg. So I can't retake the back. So now she can start looking at bridge again. Because I can't hook. I'm turning into me. So bridge and turn in. Again. If she doesn't do that, I find the leg, I kick her off. I walk my butt away, turn in onto my stomach, getting up onto my knees. Knee comes behind the back of the head, and we sit down. So here I don't just lean in onto our side. When we sit, the leg comes over, and we start leaning to the feet. So now you see we're in a very one-sided back control. Look how low our hips are, her lips are in relation to mine. I've got this foot cutting across to the far hip, making it very difficult for her now to stack me. So, and we can use this foot on that heel as well, keeping her hips low. If I'm high up on her, on the back, she's in a lot of trouble. Okay, so I like using this foot position and extending this leg to keep those hips low. Her job here is to get her weight back onto me, so she'll stack hard, and to get her weight down onto the other side, so she gets her weight up onto me first, stack, and now gets her back onto the floor. Now she can start looking to escape again. But, so I can retake the back, trust in my seatbelt, or she can stack. I kick her up, and now I can take man. So I can kick her off. So if I see her hips drop, I don't kick her off. I keep this leg across, so she's being lazy with her hips. I can release and get my hips up before she's able to get hers up. So if you see your opponent's a bit lazy and keeping their hips on the floor, just follow up into a mount. Okay. The final one, which is a neat little trap, is when they stack, we kick them off of us, but instead of taking the back, we punch our underhooking arm past our opponent, and we turn flat onto our stomach, straight into our head and arm. So if we do it the other way around, then sort of closer to. So if we're getting stacked out, kick our opponent off of us. This will force their hips to drop. Yep. Now, we release tension on our seatbelt. We turn onto our front, punching the outside arm through. look away, turning the head into her tricep, and now we finish our head and arm. Mechanics on that, you go palm to palm. I've actually been quite enjoying this wrist control before the lockdown as well. So grabbing the outside arm, pull, but the key thing with all of the applications is to pull this elbow down to your hip here and get your left elbow, sorry, across that way. So you want to be pulling the choking elbow all the way over there. That's huge with the application. If you're leaving this elbow out wide, that isn't coming on. It's nothing to do with shoulder pressure on this side. You want a very light shoulder, and you want to pull this elbow across your body like this. In fact, if you drop this shoulder heavy, it makes it very difficult to bring this elbow in that direction. So up high like this, elbow gets pulled across. So those are the major transition pathways, those three. Your opponent can either retake your back, take mount, or start threatening your neck with head and arms. Everyone cool with that? Any questions, any ideas, anything you want to shout at me? But 10 minutes. Well, if not, I'll continue some 10 minutes.
And sometimes when someone's got your back and they've got you in a body triangle, sometimes if they've got a really tight grip with those legs, sometimes it's quite hard to like rotate within their guard. Do you feel like it's better to just say like stay central and just kind of like wait them out a little bit, or should we always be trying to get out?
Is that spare leg is hooking your leg. If you kick that leg out, so you straighten it and drop the heel to the floor, that leg will pop to the center. They can apply a certain squeeze there to keep you there, but that's not going to last forever. So still try and turn. It doesn't need to happen right away, but you always want to be forcing that turn a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
They're losing a lot of energy to try and maintain.
Keep it. Yeah. Okay.
Major thing. Anyone gets that hook on your leg, you clear it. If you're able, a wrong side of the body triangle, great. You just got to add a step because then you can potentially force it over with that submission. If it's allowed, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think. So I'll give you a bit of time to drill. And where was I going to go there? I did think of this. Kick off, back. Yeah, straight. So straight back. I know we're going to finish it. So if you take my back, yeah. So there she comes in. So to kill her potentially kicking her off of me to retake the back, I'm big on this, right? Once you feel like your leg control is stable enough, that's when you can give up. So you see Susie's kind of already half going for the choke here. Controlling and choking are two different things. So she controls. Once she's happy with her control with the legs, she can now start using her hands to look to attack chokes or arm bars. That's another option. If you've got your opponent defending with two hands on the choking arm, you can use your arm bars from the back, switching up the threat slightly. So Susie could go figure if she's getting really annoyed with this control, this hand can come in, grab my wrist here, and now she can bring this foot across to the other hip and throw this leg over my head into arm bar. So if you're struggling to get on the neck, you see it all the time. People can be very hard here. They're good at hand fighting. Switch up to an attack on the arm. Trust your arm bars from the back. Now, so we stack, whether this is a body triangle or regular back control. We try to get this over to the other side of our head. Can't do it. So we see we're stacking, life's good. What we need to do, whether she hooks this leg or not, is to fully straighten it. This puts a hell of a lot of weight through my hips into her leg. If I'm like this, takes a lot of weight off and it allows her to kick me off of her. So once we get to this position, guys, onto the overhooking side, next step, that leg straight. The amount of weight it puts through her hips is mental. Okay, so Susie here, through me, just holding her arm, try to get out. She's stuck because my hips are heavy. Yeah, can you get up now? So straighten that leg, your opponent will struggle to continue to move out of the position. So stack, we go to the side of the choking arm here. Once our shoulder is on the floor, and we start getting our other shoulder to the ground, we fully straighten this leg. Yeah, so this means she can't kick us off. From here, we should be able to turn in. So on the straight leg, the knee now hits the ground, and we start turning into our opponent and closed up. Out. Sometimes you can deliberately drop your hip for them to come up to take a mount. This gives us clean escapes if we know it's coming. So I bridge, shoulder hits the floor. I deliberately lower my hip, giving her a route to take mount. As she steps over, this leg is really, really light. So she's going to release my neck, and she's going to try throwing this leg over. As this happens, I push with my hand, collecting the leg, and now I can start looking to turn in to attack the back. So if I get room, peel it off. So now I drop my hips a little bit. I'm going to struggle turning into it. So she releases the seatbelt and looks to step this leg over to a full mount. This hand is ready to push the knee in. Whilst it's in the air, this leg is light as hell. So I push it in, turning in all the way into it. And now I can start looking to hit my underhooks and escape. So this ties very similarly to a side control position. She pops up to side control. As she steps this leg over to a full mount, it's really quite light to recover. Doing that from a side control is kind of hard because they know you're going to be looking for that leg, and they'll take steps to stop you from being able to collect with your legs, like pulling the knees down towards them. They're not thinking about this. So I'll tip my back again. If you're coming out, your shoulders on the ground, she releases and starts looking to come up into a full mount, so release this. As she's coming up, push the knee down, collect the leg. So we can finish in a lot of different underhook positions here. Together, trying to control move your arms, try to get to. So one last time. So we stack, down onto the side. She starts coming up into the top position. So her arms released. I push the leg, I collect the leg, and hit my underhook. So yeah, when you're escaping the back there, I want that top leg to straighten and feel all that weight come down on the hips if you've got a partner. It's crazy. So once we get to this position, back to the floor, straighten this. And you'll feel those hips start weighing a ton. They're very light. Here. And you'll notice it doing this, because try lifting your hips up with a straight leg. It's hard because they're heavy. You're like this, currently, your hips are light, so they're easy to move. Your leg is straight, it's hard to move your hips, means they're heavy, so you're trapping your opponent. Does that make sense? I feel like I hope I'm getting a lot of yes, just under from muted camera.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Here.
I really think.
Good.
Loving the new hair, you two.
Your pink.
Solid changes.
Then I got tired of mine. Took it all off.
I don't like it.
Susie doesn't like it.
Yeah, Ross, I need one like yours.
It's life's so easy with this. Like, dry my hair.
Have you slapped him? Have you slapped him yet, Susie? You need to take the opportunity while it's skin.
You slap my, don't slap my head, please.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Have you drawn a face on the back of it? You know, like in the first Harry Potter movie when Voldemort's on the back of the professor's head. You're welcome.
You know what's really horrible though, right? So here in the front, it's kind of fuzzy, right? So whatever way I rub that, it's fuzzy. If I rub it at the back here, it's smooth.
Oh, sad.
I don't actually think it's like boldness. I think it's because you do all your jitsu like.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, we've got your head on.
So it's because
So I
I'm
think
upside
you've got polished.
I've polished my hair off. That's what's happened.
Yeah.
And you know what? Every jiu-jitsu tournament's favorite camera angle is this straight down camera literally right above you.
Yeah, savage.
But everyone can see Sedona, and it gets worse when I sweat. But I've had enough. No more hair. Anyway, I want to talk about jiu-jitsu. We're up at 45 minutes now. We covered a bunch of back takes. What I'm expecting to happen from when somebody's on my back. So those are the primary options. There may be other ones, but I'm probably covering 80 to 85% of what would happen when somebody's on your back. So it's predicting their pathways to try and maintain dominance when you're in a shitty position. Any questions, guys? Anything? If not, we'll call it. And any requests for next class?
Rubber guard.
Butterfly.
Oh, rubber guard's a good one.
Butterfly.
I'm really not very good at rubber guard.
Yeah. Twisters?
That's why I asked for rubber guard. I want to see you struggling.
First thing I will be drilling twisters on.
What's a
The spine lock.
no.
Twisters, they're good fun.
Or just teach Susie and then she can do them on you.
Me as well, so because Susie goes quite hard. What was that? Anyone?
Maybe we don't do twisters, but could we do a twister escape? Because there's a guy in the club, I've seen him like once or twice, and he's twisted me a couple of times. And I got really mad. Like proper Megan mad. Like I think my face turned red.
Oh my god. Okay. Well, yeah. No, I think that's so. A twister. Susie wants to go not double hooks, but wants to cross her legs, single hook. In many ways, this is way stronger than like it kills a lot of my escapes not having this top hook in. The way people score back control is really quite weird. I think it's oversimplified. I'll get both hooks in kind of thing. But put this foot now under my shin, so if you can. So here. What Susie will then do to go for a twister is clear the arm, go underneath my armpit and link up an S grip. Here, she will extend the leg like that, and I'll start arcing her back, pulling my neck. Yeah. So that's a twister. Yeah. So you see how people are setting these up. Fall down onto her side, she locks it up here, and she crosses it here and wants to lock this up. Now, I do not want this lower leg entangled, so we can use, you can use your top leg to kick down on this to free this leg. This control she has on my leg here is stopping me from extracting my top hip, which is what I really want there. I want this hip like over that side of it. But this foot is stopping it. Reason why people get a little bit worried about using this leg is because when you start coming down, circle this out, she can always release this and throw the hook in, and now she scores the back. I do it anyway. I use this leg, and I have this hand here waiting just to give me long enough to bring my knee back up. Now from here, this lower leg's back in play. I can use it to start getting my hips tight up on her again. So it's all down to how early you see it. She hasn't got the correct grips to finish it. If you're in there, probably best just to tap. So yeah. So from here, I want to be getting my hips up high and this hip up and over to the other side of it. From here, I can start pushing myself over into reverse half guards. So that tends to be the most common thing that happens to me when somebody attempts a twister control. It comes from this single hook back control. So she hasn't got a hook in yet. I'm starting to stack, so she forgets this. She kicks through, crosses her legs, and hooks this lower leg. Now, I've got no control over my hips. I can't use this. Can't get it to the floor. And if I kick it too far away from me, she'll throw this hook in and take my back. So I need this leg back in order to get this hip up and over here. So I can use this foot to kick, circle it out, and get the toes onto the ground. Now I can start again, forcing this hip up into the outside. Here, I can use my hands, getting into a reverse half guard, being careful of octopus guard back takes. So those are the ones where as soon as you start sitting up into a top, now I have to elevate my hip and she can extract the lower leg, take my back again. So that's how you apply a twister. It's like a single hook, back control, legs triangle, hook in there. That hook stops you from stacking your opponent. So you have to clear that first, get the foot on the ground to get your hips high enough and over to the other side of them. So yeah, be very wary when somebody's controlling you like that and allowing you to get your back to the floor. They're looking for that twister. Your job's to get that hip over to the other side. Once you're in it, it's a bit late. So if they get the grips, you're in a bit of trouble. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So yeah, clear the hook and look to stack again.
Great.
Right, guys, it's been a pleasure. I'll cover that again, probably at start next class. It's a bit of a tricky move, but just to refresh it. Cool.
Wicked. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ross. Thank you, Susie.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.